How do you feel about abuse, by the way?
You
Do you
know,
like it or you don't like it?
I'm really for it if it's for the better.
Well, then this is going to be such a great topic for you because that's the same philosophy that this school had in mind.
Obviously, I'm kidding. Okay,
I wasn't.
you're not
I'm just
because
kidding
you are.
because this topic has abuse.
Good. That'll be a real good mood setter for what's gonna happen because it's gonna be a super happy
Yeah,
episode, super upbeat. It's gonna be great. So
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
adding the element
Abuse,
of abuse really just makes it so much
just
better of a topic.
mama's spaghetti.
Yes,
I
yes.
I think when people like put on a podcast with their their favorite hosts, they're in it for like being entertained and like kind of bring something to the day. This is gonna be that top notch abuse that
Yep.
everyone craves.
So what we want. This is cancel worthy abuse.
Yes. Um, but so that's your warning. Are we starting?
That was the warning, I guess.
I guess that's the warning
That's
that
the warning.
this episode has a lot of talk of every kind like murder, rape, drugs, abuse, neglect, severe abuse, a lot of abuse. So if you were abused or you get triggered by anything that I just mentioned, this would be a great time to
Dip
skip
out.
this episode. Yeah.
We
Um,
won't shame you or hold anything against you for skipping. We get it, you know. But I guess I
I'm
should
gonna
pro-
skip this episode.
I guess I should probably do an intro before we get too much into this.
Uh,
Welcome back to the Thought Void podcast. I am one of your hosts, Vance Miller, and over there in the other screen is my beautiful boy, Esdin.
what up? This
And
is officially the first episode with video, technically.
it's attempt 1.5 because the first one got
Yes.
fucked.
Sorry for the no upload last week. We were attempting to um, do a video this time, but the episode was trash. So we botched it. And if you want to see clips of that, it'll be turned into shorts and posted on Instagram so you can get like little tidbits of what could have been.
It was
We were
pretty
reading a
rough.
creepy pasta. It was a creepy pasta that we were gonna read, and then it just kind of flatlined and was just really bad. Like not even like a like let's make fun of it kind of bad. It was just kind of like unusable kind of garbage.
It literally just ended in the middle of the story. It just stopped. And that was kind of my bad because I should have read to the at least the end of it before we started recording, but you know, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
We're podcasters. Come on.
I don't know anything about video or audio or anything to do with the camera at all.
Same.
But
Nothing at all.
look at us. We're doing it again. So if you're listening on audio platforms, hop over to YouTube if you want to see our immaculate faces while we talk about
Yeah, this is your first time
today.
seeing us. So that's
Yeah,
kind of fun for you guys or awful because we're not the, you know, the fondest creatures in the land.
our
But
views are gonna tank after this.
we're just
Nobody's
gonna
gonna want to see this.
we're gonna lose all 30 subscribers. We lost one
Yeah,
subscriber.
I saw that. I
Fucking
saw that.
bastard. Whoever
I
unsubscribed,
know.
shit list.
You're not part of the God Force, and when you leave the God Force, you can't come back.
You
I'm
can't
sorry.
come back. Nope. No
We're gonna start shaving
re-entry.
our heads. Mm-mm.
We're gonna start shaving our that might look
Yeah,
really bad.
we're gonna shave our heads and get tattoos across the chest. I love God Force.
This could be bad. This could be a future play for all of us when we decide that we're gonna have a community and all drink Kool-Aid on a certain date.
I think when is Haley's Comet coming back?
I don't know.
I'm not gonna look that up to get specific because I don't want to get in trouble. But
Anyway, so
anyway,
today is
we already said the
Esdin's
warning.
topic.
Yes.
We said the warning. So explain yourself right now,
Okay,
Esdin.
so today we're talking about the Élan School. Have you ever heard of that before?
Dude, I love this topic
Oh yeah.
so much. I know it. I love it.
Hmm.
It's beautiful. We should do second part to this, not super
Okay.
related, but of like the it starts with an S.
Oh,
It's
I
like an
mentioned that the Scionon or
yes,
whatever.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I mentioned
We
that.
should do another episode just on them because they're
That'd be
related,
dope.
but not like exactly, but they're close enough.
Yeah, I bring it up here
Yeah.
in this episode. But yeah, I heard about this through a Nexpo episode. If anybody knows that YouTuber, he did like a really good episode on this, and I was like, this needs to be on the podcast. Like, this is right up our alley. Well, not that we support it, but
This is right up our alley.
it's
We would love to attend this school and everything. If you guys could get us on next fall's register, that'd be great.
that'd be awesome. That'd be really cool. If this video gets over 100 listens, we will do an episode from the Élan schools that are still in practice.
Is
Just
there any?
kidding.
Actually, is there
There
any?
are.
There is? No
Yeah.
way. I didn't know that. I thought it closed in 2011 at least.
Here in the States, well, we're going to get into that. Here in the
Okay,
States, it
okay.
closed, but I believe there's one in Australia still.
Australia
The
out of all places.
Australians. I know. It doesn't seem very like, no offense, but I would expect this from like Russia or something. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Australia just has like a bunch of fucking koalas like beating kids
Just beating the
into
shit out of
submission.
kids.
Like
Alrighty. So we'll put up. This is one of the locations. I didn't like go into the specifics of each location because there were multiple like sites, you could say, like campuses of the school. I just
okay.
kind of went into the overall themes and practices of them all. But this here is a photo of like the main campus, and we'll put that in the video. So
It's pretty dumpy. When you think
it,
campus,
yeah,
this
it's
is
not
not
like
what
a
you think.
college campus. I want you to think like Midwest town, big house from like the 40s with like a bunch of different add-ons throughout the decades.
I was good point. I was just gonna say, but a house has been added onto like at
Yeah.
least 4 times.
Yeah, because it's huge, but not in like a good way.
It looks fucked
Like
up.
it's not a mansion. It's people squat here kind of
Yes.
thing.
Yes. This is where you get stabbed by a meth head if you're adventuring abandoned places.
Yeah, there's 100% going to be like hypodermic needles full of like diabetes, blood, and AIDS in here. So if that's what you're into, pull up.
There's a syringe that says diabetes on the side.
It's like labeled like there's like diabetes and AIDS.
There's type 1, type 2. Choose your fighter.
Choose your own disability. Do you know there's a book titled Diabetes is a Choice?
That's so fucked. That's so fucked
Okay,
up.
I'm not one to like, I don't want to make anyone feel bad. But if you think about it, the one you get when you're really obese is kind of a choice. Unless you have a
Okay.
severe eating disorder, but like
That might
I'm
be
just
controversial.
I think
Because type 2 diabetes doesn't just come from being fat,
yeah, but like it could. What
but
else
it
does it come from?
could. Anything. Diet, not getting exercise
Fat,
like me and you. Look at
fat.
us. I
I
don't get
exercise.
exercise. I'm fucking not fat.
I exercise like every other day.
You know what? Good for you, Esdin.
Yeah. Watch me still get type 2 diabetes.
Watch you get diabetes just because of what you just said.
Yeah, like my karma's gonna come back and I'm gonna have to lose both my fucking legs.
I'll
That's
wheel
gonna
you around, bro. I
suck.
got you.
That I have a wheelchair. If you go
Do
back
you
on my YouTube,
actually?
yeah, I don't know if it's still up, but on my YouTube channel, you can see like it's called "Let's Get Crippled," and it's
Oh
just
my
Evan and I going
God.
on like hills in a wheelchair.
I remember you making this.
Yeah,
It's when we
yeah,
worked together, isn't it?
yeah. Back in the
Yeah.
day, yeah.
But
Anyway,
anyway,
back to the school. So let's talk about the history a little bit here. So it's pronounced Élan. I don't know why. I don't really care. So the Élan boarding school was founded in the 1970s in Poland, Maine, in the United States. I got that kind of confused. I thought like it was like Poland, and then there was a place in Poland named Maine,
Lil
because I was
Yachty.
like, I thought there was like a Portland, Maine, but not a Poland. You know what I mean?
There is a
But
Portland,
it's a
Maine,
thing.
and I
Yeah,
guess a
but
Poland.
there's and a Poland. Um, it was found by Joseph Ritke or Rissy. How do you think that's pronounced?
I think it's Rissy.
Rissy, I think. He's
I think
Italian.
Ricci. I'm assuming Rissy.
And he helped kids with drug addictions. That was kind of like his, I guess,
Ah,
credentials.
that was
There
his
was Dr.
specialty.
Gerald Davidson, he was a psychiatrist. David Goldenberg, he was the investor. And Bill Diamond, who was the director of governmental relations. Now, I'm going to go into some of these people, not all of them, because some of them don't really play like huge crucial roles. And then I'll even bring up other people that were related to the whole thing that I didn't just mention. But these are the four dudes that kind of started it.
These are the
And the
big
school,
guys
yeah, these are the pillars of this immaculate society that we're about
of
to
this
dive into.
godlike community that they have created.
I want you guys to think of like peak heaven experience, like resort getaway. That's definitely what this is going to be.
It's definitely
Like,
not
just
a fucking creepy ass tan, weirdly
building in
built
the
house.
middle of butt fuck nowhere. You can, if you look it up, if you look up Élan School, Poland, Michigan, it'll bring you to like you can see it on Google Earth, and it's just like in the middle of the fucking woods in the middle of nowhere, and the school is not even there, and it's got a review. It has a 1-star review.
The audacity to
I know it's like,
leave.
you know what? I was abused so much that I need to put a review here.
I'm still holding a grudge. Which
Uh,
fair. From
which
what I
I
know about
would,
this
dude.
place, that's fair.
This shit's fucked up. Um, the school was intended as a last resort for troubled teens through a strict and rigorous program of rehabilitation, also known as severe abuse. So, and brainwashing. We always love that.
Yep.
There's like a commercial for it. It's like, do you have a troubled teen? Send them to the lawn school to get abused straight. It's like the,
Abuse straight
it's
instead
like
of scared straight,
scared straight. They just abuse you.
which is kind of the same thing.
It's kind of the same thing, except this one's not on television as a
True.
show. That dude, if you really think about it, that show is such a crazy concept.
It is a
Like,
crazy
let's take these
concept.
like troubled teens and film them in prison getting harassed for an
Let's
hour.
mentally abuse these children and make money from it.
I mean that's where the real money is,
That is
honestly.
where the real money is, especially when it comes to reality TV.
Exploitation.
Hmm.
Exploitation.
People love it.
Yeah, I mean the school was meant for they accepted uh
Anyway,
this the, the school accepted kids from grades 8 to 12, so like late middle school all the way through high school, and ages 13 to 18 plus. And then the school costed 20 grand a year to send your kid, and then towards the end it cost upwards of 50 grand a year to send your kid there. And the
dude,
program that they would run would last anywhere from a year to 4 years.
or you're telling me these people got a bachelor degree from the fucking Elaine
The Élan
school?
School of yeah, dude. Come on down and get your bachelor's degree in child abuse and manipulation.
I have a bachelor's in receiving abuse.
I am a master at getting abused. I know what it looks like. I know how it feels. I know it all.
We
I
laugh, but
can
it's
tell when
really
I'm being.
not funny.
It's really not that funny. Like, I mean, the bit was kind of funny, but like the actual reality is not funny.
As a bit, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yes. In your like LinkedIn profile, it's like bachelor's degree at Élan School, and then when someone looks it up, they're like, "Oh,
Cool. Super
it's like that's
hireable.
weird." They go in for like an interview. So you went to the Élan School? Like, yeah, I know when I'm being manipulated and brainwashed. I'm doing it.
Yeah,
I can
right. They would
like so.
literally
Don't
hire
try that.
they would literally hire them because like not hire them because they know
Exactly
they know when they're
when they're
getting
being
abused.
exploited. Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into our boy Joseph here.
Ah,
This is, I think he looking like a nice. He looks really sweaty in this photo, in my
he
opinion.
looks awfully greasy.
He looks pretty stressed out, maybe from all the abuse he's been dishing out. Probably takes a
Maybe
toll on somebody.
yeah.
I've
I
never
think he
abused
looks tired
anybody,
because he
but
hasn't abused anybody in a couple days because he was getting ready for this. He had
Oh,
to
he had to
like let
prep.
his knuckles heal up and shit. You know how it
Mm.
is.
From like on his hands are covered in casts from like hitting kids.
Literally breaking his fist on children's
Yeah.
skulls.
So he was raised by his grandparents,
Makes
and he was a
sense.
very troubled kid. Um, he was addicted to heroin by the age of 12.
What?
Yeah, dude,
Wait,
isn't
wait,
that
wait, wait,
nuts? How do you
wait.
how do you like I always thought this was crazy. Like you hear stories like this, like 12-year-olds getting like addicted to hella drugs, and it's like when I was 12, if someone had weed or a cigarette, that shit was crazy. But like imagine being in middle school and someone's like, "Yo, heroin." Like
Dude,
what circle do you have to be around?
your grandparents, I guess. I mean, who do you get it from? Like, where are you
They've been
buying
saving it from the 60s.
heroin as a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old?
Who's selling a 12-year-old heroin?
People who want money. I'll do it.
I mean, if this podcast goes to shit, we're selling heroin to kids.
Yes, yes, we're standing outside of like a middle school and being like, "Hey, want some heroin?" Holding your
You
coat
want
open,
some of
there's a bunch of
this?
needles.
A bunch of needles.
They're all
Nice.
rusted.
Rusted and used. We picked him up at the Élan School.
Yeah.
And in the he at when he was 18, he was arrested for robbing a mail truck, and the judge gave him either 7 years in jail or he had to go to a rehab center to get clean. And
I
he,
wonder what he
which
chose.
one did he pick? He decided to go into rehab at the Daytop Village, which was a rehab center that had like religious ties, and that ties to the Synanon School or the church that we were talking about in the beginning. Is that how
Synanon.
you pronounce it? Synanon School, also or the church, also known as Tender Loving Care.
That's an awfully powerfully opposite name
Yeah,
for what
they
it is.
they were not great people, and they're still around. I think
Yeah,
there's one somewhere in Europe, and then there's one in Australia. Huge cult, basically. We're, like you said, we'll do a whole episode
we
on it
will. 100%.
eventually. But he took a lot of inspiration from his time at the church, and he became one of Daytop's greatest success stories. And he took a lot of inspiration from the practices of the church and the Daytop to implement into the Élan School. And then once we kind of go into the practices, you'll see why the Daytop and the church were not necessarily the greatest environment for a child addicted to heroin.
The pastors like dishing out the heroin.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna feel your addiction, just so that you seem happy when the press shows up.
You've been looking really sad. Is it because you're trying to quit heroin? I got you.
Well, just here's some more heroin. Just take it. No, he looks so sweaty in this photo because he's having heroin withdrawals.
He's chasing the dragon as we speak.
Mid interview, he's just like tweaking out.
Heroin's no joke, guys.
Yeah, I tried it once. Crazy. Just kidding. I have never done heroin
I would be very upset with you if you tried heroin
without you, right?
without me. Didn't invite
If
me.
this if this gets 200 listens, we're gonna do heroin on the podcast.
I love how like there's always some type of condition that the listeners have
Yeah.
to give to us in order for us to do something crazy. Whether it's
Yes.
heroin, adventuring the abandoned school. We put a lot in your guys' hands.
Watch one day when this is like actually gets like a decent amount of views, and they're gonna be pissed that we're not doing heroin. Oh, dude, little side note. You can do ketamine now,
Yeah. I'm trying to
like
get into a
legally.
K-hole, dude.
Isn't that
You can go to the
crazy?
doctor and get treated for like depression and
With
shit
ketamine.
with ketamine.
Yeah.
And they like watch you as you trip to make sure you don't freak out too bad.
Well, you
Yeah.
can have. There's companies that'll send it to you to your house,
Oh, I
and you
feel
can just
like
do it.
I feel like that's a bad idea. I listened to some guy. He was talking about how he was doing ketamine treatments, and he would go to like a center and stay there for hours, and he would do ketamine, and they would watch him and make sure he doesn't like freak out too much. And he said it actually did help him in the long run.
Link in the description.
So,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We are not promoting ketamine unless they
no,
sponsor us.
sponsored by
Um,
by Big K.
by Big K. So, Homeboy was a big, one of Daytop's biggest success, and it was such an influential time in his life that he decided he wanted to become a leader in the field of like rehabilitation and helping children with troubled lives. Even though he had no mental health licensing, no counseling license, he had no certification to do any of that, but he was going to do it anyway. Real
Nice,
go-getter,
nice, nice.
entrepreneurial
Yeah,
mindset.
he really had his nose to the
uh,
grindstone.
a quote when he was interviewed describing Daytop, I had done the therapy bit, but this blew my mind, even though he thought the head shaving thing was wrong, which he incorporates later on, which totally not. I mean, if he thinks it's wrong, it couldn't have been that bad if he
Looks like he
incorporates it
took a
later.
few pages out of their book.
Way, way, he took the book, bro.
He plagiarized the whole fucking thing.
The whole thing. He copied and pasted and said it was his. He was described as a sort of a cult figure by accounts from students in the Élan School.
Fair.
Here's a quote saying, "It was like he was Jim Jones. He was our reality. It's hard to explain, but Joe had a way of defining things as if his definition was the only one. We all would have swallowed cyanide for him if he had asked."
Damn, and that comes from an alumni?
Yeah. Isn't that like
Damn.
like that can't be good.
No, I mean,
Like that's a heavy, heavy quote.
well, I mean, if you think about it was literally set up like a cult.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
whole thing is literally a cult. Especially the
No,
people who are
it's a boarding
involved.
school.
I don't know, man. The staff is definitely part of a bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. Another quote from Joe during an NBC News interview. He said, "At Élan, the first thing you learn is that you're not going to get out of here. No matter how many times you run away, we will go and get you." So if that
And hunt
doesn't
you
set up like a
down.
really, and they do hunt people down. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that just really sets it up for, you know, a really great go-getter to the type of the top school.
Imagine that's the first thing you hear. I'm saying it's like syllabus day, right? You don't actually have school. And he's like,
Yeah,
you guys are never going to leave. No matter how hard you try, we
we
will
will
get
find
you.
you.
And it's like, cool. I
It's
like
like
this
that's
place.
sick. I'm
That's
glad that my
awesome.
parents signed me up for this. Anyway, it's like you know how like all these students are like troubled teens and stuff. Imagine if like a normal kid showed up first day, gets told that, and he's like, "Yeah, can I call my mom? Doesn't really feel like it's good." No, you have to
He
stay
gets
here.
punched in the throat immediately.
Just like crowbar to the back, just like whipped.
But it's syllabus day.
It's so I thought we were getting out early. Yeah, you get to go live in the barracks.
Bro, it's the worst when you show up to like class in the fall and you don't actually get released early because it's syllabus day.
Shit's so
Oh,
stupid.
so stupid.
I hated it so much when they like today, it's just like the first day of school and then they still teach shit that day. It's like, bro,
And your
I'm
professor's
not
like,
here for this.
you guys have to read the first 5 chapters of this book by Wednesday. It's like, cool,
Well,
thanks.
really, it's like they expected you to like always already know shit before
Yep.
going into the class. And
That's
it's like,
college.
no, bro. This is why I'm in the class, is so you can tell me what I need to know.
But in this case, these kids didn't know they had to get the shit beat out of them.
Yeah, they didn't know they were inadvertently joining a cult and being abused constantly. That's the surprise part. The test to see how many times you can get hit in the face before
That's
you
the
pass out.
that's the kicker. You gotta pass a certain
Literally.
amount of physical testing. It's kind of like, you know how like when you take the test to see like so the professors can kind of see where everyone's at.
You
So
know,
like you
placement
all
test.
like line up, yeah, and they're like, all right, lay on the ground. I'm gonna kick you in the ribs 5 times each side, and if you can stand up and take deep breaths for me, we're good to go. You're
We're
good
good
to
to go.
go.
You don't have to take the final exam. If you
Yeah.
can survive severe blunt force trauma to the rib cage consistently, you
Yep.
pass. You
Yep.
graduate. So, the tender loving care, let's talk about that a little bit, was a religious movement with an emphasis on conforming troubled teens. So you can see how that's connected and how that kind of inspired our boy Joe. And they kind of coined this term. Can you pronounce the name for me again?
The Synanon.
The
Synanon.
Synanon. They coined the name Synanon game, which here's kind of a quick definition: is the Synanon developed into a community centered on group truth-telling sessions, and that was what the Synanon game was, and it was a form of attack therapy. Which when I didn't know that like attack therapy was a thing before researching this topic, and the idea of like attack and therapy being the same like conjunction doesn't make like compute in my brain because my thought process like
Yeah.
therapy is supposed to be where you go to be vulnerable and helped and cared for. Attack therapy is like the total left field. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I mean, usually you go to therapy from being attacked.
Yeah.
That's why you're there in the first place. So I don't know if
People
attack
who go to
therapy is the move.
people go to people go to attack therapy because they want to go to regular therapy but they have nothing to talk about.
True. Yep. Exactly. Good point,
They
Esdin.
need to be abused. They have that
They're-
weird craving.
Joe's like, but they wanted it.
But they showed up for attack therapy. It's in the name. They
So
asked for it.
really, that's them just submitting to it.
It's not my fault, okay? I have a service and they bought it. Here's a quote describing the school. It was described or the Synanon. How do you say it?
Synanon. You
Did I
got it
say it right?
right. Yeah,
Oh,
Synanon.
Synanon. Okay. So it was described as one of the most dangerous and violent cults America had ever seen. Synanon disbanded in 1991 after several members were convicted of offenses including financial misdeeds, evidence tampering, terrorism, and attempt of murder.
Terrorism.
Yeah,
Okay.
terrorism. guys,
Terrorism.
guys, terrorism. Terrorism.
These guys, the Élan School was literally terrorists.
Like they were based on a terrorist group. Like the foundation for this school is so solid, guys. Like
Solid
if I was gonna
shit.
send solid shit, the practices were for tender loving care. I love calling it that because it's so fucked up.
It's
Uh,
what it's so polar opposite. It's like
it is.
jarring.
Yeah. The practices were forced marriages, forced divorces, forced abortions, forced vasectomies, and they forced people to shave their heads. And then that was just to name a few. And I thought that was just a really good set of moral practices to have to really instill into like the youth that are troubled, you know?
To be honest, um, I know it's like expensive to go there or whatever, but the vasectomy is a plus. Because I
Actually,
tried to get one and my doctor wouldn't let me.
you actually try to get one?
I tried to get a vasectomy and they said I couldn't get one because I don't have any kids.
They say that?
They said that to me
Why did what?
because, he's like, oh, you're 23 and you don't have any kids, so we're not going to be able to go through with it. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I don't want kids, and that's why I want a vasectomy.
Pull up, dude. We'll do one right here on the podcast.
We'll do it. We'll just take
Dude, we'll live stream it. The first live episode is an at-home vasectomy.
We'll just pull a room 348 and we'll just shoot my ball sack.
Yeah, exactly.
That could work. That could work.
We'll just make sure to like not go up through you so you don't die.
Yeah.
We'll
I'll
go
have to be
like through the
standing,
nut.
so it's all like hanging, and then you just
Yeah.
shoot it off for me.
I'll put like we need to here's a visual representation of what we're gonna do to Vance. We'll have like a fucking like
It's
a
me
like
standing
a
there,
pair
ass
emoji.
naked.
A kid with like a fake Nerf bullet, like PNG
Yeah.
through the screen.
And then my balls like shittily photoshopped where you see the cut and then they just fall to the ground.
They just.
It could work.
I think this is a win. I know how to sew with my hands. I can just stitch you right up.
That's perfect. We can use real
Yeah.
thread, not the stuff that degrades over time.
Dissolves. Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll have to peel it back out for me after a few weeks, but
Yeah. And it'll
got it.
definitely be like super clean so there won't get any infections and won't have to remove
Yeah.
your balls at all.
Yeah, I mean like thread, it's not like it's going to absorb and hold blood and bacteria and plasma, like
Mm.
plasma, it's fine.
And also make sure that the stitching is on the outside so it snags on everything. So it really leaves
Yes.
you open to like reopening that wound. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like that'll be really nice for the days that I'm wearing like underwear that's too tight, you know? So
Yeah. Yeah.
everything is just extra uncomfortable. I think that would be a good thing to do.
I think so too. I think that would be really nice. I think the viewers would like it too.
Yeah.
We just flash like a half second like image of like a bloody nutsack labeled
Like my balls
Vance's
all
balls.
swollen and like black and blue and like shittily stitched together.
Yeah. Okay. So the game. This comes back up. This is something that Joe really took from the Synanon. The game is a session during which one member would talk about themselves and then endure intense criticism by their peers. During this practice, members were encouraged to be critical of everything using harsh and profound language. And that could last up to 72 hours.
What?
Which I
Wait.
thought was fucking nuts because, like, imagine you're like, okay, I'd have taken the game and all I did was just get berated for 3 days, just screamed at.
So is it kind of a thing where it's like, all right, first day, everybody share your hobbies and your favorite pet, and then you just get fucking roasted
Yeah.
for three
Like,
days?
you just sit there and you have to describe what you like and what you do and like why you do it, and then people are supposed to just shit on it for 3 days.
I like that.
I think that's really good.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do to my kids,
That's
but I'm
what
not
we
gonna
want
have.
you guys to do to us about our
Yeah,
podcasting.
if you could leave in the comments on YouTube and anything, just start a game, pick
You know
somebody.
what? You know what? Actually, roast us in the comments this episode. Under this episode, roast us. And this will be
That's
part of
so
the game.
fitting.
So fucking
That's
do
so
it.
funny.
Let's
Hey
do it.
guys, I'm looking directly at the camera. Take it all in. Look at me.
Roast us.
Roast us. Got it.
Do it.
I like how we're just inspiring hate into the world.
Everyone's like, you didn't even have to ask us to do that.
We're gonna do it anyway.
You guys suck.
The next two people we're gonna discuss are Joe's wives,
Plural.
and he had two, but not in like a Mormon kind of way, but like in a like get divorced and remarry kind of way.
Okay, okay.
So first we have Cheryl or Sherry Benton. They met on a blind date, and she helped with management and daily operations at the school. And then Joe just started abusing her, just out of nowhere, and humiliating her in front of pretty much everyone that he could. Any opportunity he would take just to shit on her regularly.
What a dickhead. Like,
Yeah. He would often shoot her down, which is a term that described by the school. Here, let me restart that. He would shoot her down, and this is a term that Élan describes as taking authority away from someone who has misused it. So he would kind of like pretend that she wasn't part of the faculty.
it was almost
If
like
that
she
makes
got
sense.
like demoted temporarily.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
He would humiliate her in front of in staff meetings, and then purposely exclude her from decision makings, and then purposely tell people to not tell her when things would change or decisions were made.
So she was literally set up for failure.
Pretty much.
And then he would punish
Uh,
her and probably get his rocks off because he's like,
yeah.
haha,
I like
treating
beating
her like
women.
shit again.
I'm gonna abuse you.
This guy sounds very insufferable.
That's a good word. Nice word.
Thank you.
The abuse became so bad that she was hospitalized for having a nervous breakdown, among other things, and then that caused her to become withdrawn from the school and divorce Joe.
Yeah, good. I'm glad she saw all of the signs and felt the signs and left instead of sticking
You know,
through it.
I'm glad she left because she left the table open for me. I see these as green flags.
You get some of that sweet, sweet Joe.
I need
I would
some of
like
that
a,
abuse.
I would like a nice cup of Joe and a knuckle sandwich.
I didn't get it because it's
His name's Joe and
yeah,
he beats
because
people.
beats people.
It's not funny.
It's not abuse is not funny. So Sharon Terry was his next wife. Uh, she was the administrator before she took over after Joe died 10 months after they got married. And she ran the school up until it closed, and she had no mental health training whatsoever.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there were Cheryl and Sharon.
Yeah.
He likes
His shures.
his shirts. Yeah.
Next, we have Dr. Gerald Davidson. This is a nice look at that little man right there. He looks like he looks like he would have the tough love approach to your emotions, and he definitely that's what he preached. He was a child psychiatrist working at the Massachusetts General Hospital and a lecturer at Harvard University. And like I said, he had the tough love approach. So like he was very like just get over it, like don't deal with your emotions in a healthy way at all. Very traditional, if you will.
It's so crazy that these people come from
Mm-hmm.
such like he came obviously from a good background, going to Harvard and shit.
Yeah, I assume.
Which I mean, I guess never mind. I redact my statement because I feel like most rich people are assholes, so it makes sense.
Mm,
Never mind.
makes sense. Shortly after starting Elan, he stopped working there and became disillusioned by Joe's teachings and practices and stuff. And he tried to warn people to not go there all up until he died. He stopped working in the 90s and he spent the rest of his life trying to warn people that Joe was sadistic and that it was a scam. And then he
Hmm.
died in 1991.
So he was
So he,
trying to help.
yeah, I'm assuming he kind of had like a better plan in mind in the sense of like we're gonna have like a boarding school for like troubled kids and kind of like a military school kind of vibe. And then he was like, "Oh, this is turning into a cult," and then he left and tried to do what he could. But then he
Okay.
died. So our one saving grace, fucking kicked the bucket.
At least he tried helping.
Yeah, at least he tried. Next are my favorite candidates, favorite staff members here. We have Martin L. Kruglich.
I really thought you were going to say Martin Luther King.
We have Martin Luther
I was like,
King,
what?
guys.
Was he
Yeah.
not dead? I keep hitting my
No,
mic.
I can't hear it. So,
Good, 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 good.
um, and Mark Rosenberg.
Hmm.
So, Martin was the first or one of the first graduates from Elan, and then he started working at Elan in 1972 as the senior program director.
Okay.
So they kind of did a lot of that. Like a lot of students would like finish the program and then come back and like still work there
Which is
as part of the
wild
staff, which
because
is
obviously they were part of the
crazy.
problem.
Yeah. So he was sent to Elan because he molested several boys and it was given a choice between jail or going to Elan, which is really cool. Love that. Allegedly, uh, he raped and got at least one girl pregnant at the program, which Elan reportedly forced to have an abortion.
Oh, I
Isn't that
mean,
cool?
fuck. That's tough.
Just fuck.
That's bad.
That's
Yeah,
that's
there's really
it.
nothing good you can take from that. That's
And then
tough.
if it couldn't get any worse, there's a survivor report from the school that he was caught touching and molesting a 9-year-old boy in the 70s. So
Ah.
yeah, really good guy, really good dude, really awesome. Definitely should let your kids be around him. And then we have Mark Rosenberg. He was a director at Elan, and he was, I wrote here, heroin only all the time because he was constantly doing heroin. Like from what I read, the only real memories anyone has of this guy is him just being in a cabin alone on heroin constantly.
What? Okay, so I feel like so if it's like the weekend, I'll pretty much
Mhm.
just smoke all day, do my thing. If I have no
Sure.
responsibilities, I'll just chill. But I couldn't imagine being on like a hard ass drug all the
Yeah.
time every day. Like I don't
Mhm.
know, that's insane. Because that's like life altering kind of drugs, not like,
Mhm.
oh, I just feel good. It's like, no, you're in a
I'm
different
asleep.
planet.
You are gonna change your life now in a negative way, and it's like you ever been on like a bender for drinking,
Oh yeah.
and then you feel like shit afterward, right?
Yes, obviously.
Imagine that with heroin, dude.
But then you just do more, kind of like drinking, and then you're
Mm.
fine. So that bender just keeps going.
You
Eventually the
just go
bender
and go.
turns into a lifestyle.
I like that. I
And then
like
it's
that.
cool.
And then it's fun.
What's your hobby? Heroin.
This guy, this heroin guy, was extremely malnourished and underweight because all he did was do heroin.
Makes
He
sense.
became that guy. His only hobby was heroin.
He became a
And then,
walking syringe.
pretty much, all the syringes that you're going to see at the Élan schools that are abandoned are probably from this guy.
Is that actually
Um,
crazy that some of them probably are from him? If there are any
yeah, probably,
around?
yeah. From how he was described, it's basically like if you took some like homeless drug addict from any city and just made him in charge of kids.
Nice. Nice.
And then uh, it got so bad that the legal system got involved, obviously because heroin's illegal, and they suspended him from the school and forced him to uh, enroll in a detox center. And then the school was like, no, he's not addicted to heroin, and got him out of that deal and just rehired him. So a really awesome lineup for the staff members here.
He's definitely not addicted to heroin. He just disappears for days at a time to some weird cabin in the woods and shows up looking more like shit. But he's
Every
definitely,
day.
it's not heroin. I know that for a
It,
fact.
he has terrible track marks and he has needles sticking out of him regularly, but it's not heroin. It's his insulin shots, I
But I
promise.
know those woods back there get full of mosquitoes this time of year. So what are you going
What are you
to
gonna do?
do?
Dude, we have just like such an amazing line. Like, who allowed this to happen? Did nobody investigate these people?
This is
Like,
the craziest fucking squad of professors and leaders that I have ever heard of in my life.
when me and the boys start a school project.
Literally. Yeah. There's the pothead,
Yeah.
the alcoholic, the kid that doesn't do anything, but this is like they're teaching kids and doing heroin and
Yeah. It's kind of
molesting
like
children.
it's like, okay, we're gonna start a school with all these kids that need to be, they're troubled and they need help, and then we're just gonna get them to be taught and disciplined by other felons and other horrible people. Like,
You only
like,
learn from the best, bro.
it's funny. All these people have like severe problems who are teaching these kids, and it's like, guys, just do what I did. I learned how to cope with my problems by putting it onto other people, such as you guys.
And I'm in my 50s.
I'm in my
I
50s,
made it
guys.
this long.
So, after that immaculate lineup, let's talk about the School of Practices. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Here on the right here, this is a really immaculate photo of a bunch of students
Wow.
and the professors, and then we've got a lot to cover, so strap in. So, the school had a very cult-like setup, hierarchical,
Yep.
setup. They kind of had a big brother, big sister style approach for newcomers, which is like a frat.
It's like
It was an
hazing
older
freshmen.
student, pretty much, but with abuse. Um,
So hazing freshmen.
hazing freshman, yeah. The big brother, the big sister was basically supposed to be an older student that was like a guide for newcomers to kind of like help them settle in and like get used to the rules and enforce the rules and stuff and report any violations to like the higher ups. And some of the tasks were in educating the new student on why the Élan School was amazing and why the student was a failure if they couldn't accept that. Really good,
Nice.
really good.
Nice. That's a great way to handle issues.
Yep. Brainwashing 101. It's like gaslighting them. Like, no, dude, the abuse is nice. You wanted it
You literally asked me to
to
blacken
hit you.
both of your eyes.
And they were encouraged to play tricks on the new students. And an example would be that they would try to convince the new student to run away. And then if they did run away, they would immediately report them. And then they would get punished for it.
That's so shitty.
It's so fucked up, dude.
Hey,
Like,
dude, I
that's,
bet you can't run over there and touch that tree and come back as soon as he takes off. He's running.
he's running away. Get him.
There's like dogs and people chasing him with guns.
Yeah, there's just like a car just driving after him. So they also had this thing called a non-strength and a strength situation, and it's a little confusing because it only applies to so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And the rule was that if you were a non-strength, you couldn't talk to other people who were non-strengths without a strength listening to you talk to them.
Your conversations have to be
And
monitored by a higher up, pretty much.
exactly. And a strength was only allowed to talk to non-strengths unsupervised. And then obviously strengths could talk to strengths and shit like that.
But if two
Um,
non-strengths are talking to each other unsupervised, they get punished severely.
Abused.
Yeah.
Yes. So this also was accompanied by a level system. So you had kind of like think of a corporation, how you have like the main workers, and you have the managers, and then the assistant managers, and the
Right.
GMs and shit like that. And a forced abuse. So people were forced to abuse the people below them and around them, just cause. We're gonna start kind of at like the bottom and work our way up the strength ladder. First, you have the worker, which everyone who came, every newcomer was started as a worker, and they were pretty much just responsible for keeping everything clean. The majority of the chores that nobody wanted to do, that kind of stuff, and they were considered a
So
non-strength.
kind of like they're cleaning people,
Pretty much, pretty much,
doing all the
or
grunt
like I,
work and
yeah, exactly, exactly. Think of like a floor member at like a Walmart, you
okay.
know.
Okay.
And then there's a ramrod, which is
Yeah.
responsible for inspecting the chores that were done by the workers, and they were tasked to wear white gloves and then wipe the surfaces that were cleaned to inspect for cleanliness. And if the
Damn.
workers had anything on the gloves, the workers would be punished because it wasn't clean.
Hell no, dude. These
Yeah,
people
dude.
are
Yeah,
rats.
these people suck.
This is the
Like
worst place on earth. This is
like I feel
hell.
really bad for these kids. Like I know they're all like, you know, druggies or come from like bad backgrounds, and I feel bad for them. But this is just too much.
Well, they needed better. They needed actual help.
Yeah, they need
They're not
actual
bad
help.
people. They just need, guidance and help getting through their struggles, not getting
Yeah,
punished for it for trying to help themselves.
there were some accounts that of people who loved this program, who like it helped
Yeah.
them a lot.
Yeah, there's literally a guy on YouTube. I'm pretty sure he has a video of
Hmm.
him saying that it helped him. But he
Isn't that
understands that it didn't
crazy?
help everybody,
Which is a good thing.
which is a good thing. But there are people that are like, yeah, dude, that was the best shit ever. It was like summer camp, but sick as fuck because I got to
Because
box
I got to
people.
abuse people. I got to hit people whenever I wanted. And then the ramrods were considered non-strengths. Then we have the expediters. Think basically an extremely oppressive police officer or security guard. Basically, like I just said, responsible for the security of the place. They were to track everybody's daily movements and actions down to like the hour. Pretty much like
Damn.
everything you did had to be written down.
Shit. So they were
And
like, where's Esdin? They would know exactly where you're at right now.
they would be like, oh, he's taking a shit in, bathroom 1A, stall 4, massive diarrhea.
And
Like
it
that was,
stinks.
and it smells bad. We're abusing him after he gets out. Like, that shit's ass. The expediters were also relayed orders and reported any negative behaviors to the higher ups, and they were stationed at every door around the buildings and were to carry around clipboards so they could write down, everything. And then they were stationed there all hours of the day and night so that people wouldn't run away.
So I'm not not to put you on the spot. I'm not sure if you know this on the top of your head, but how many students was there per expediter? Do you know?
I don't know.
No? Okay.
It we kind of get like an idea of how many students were at like a single home, and it was like 150 at one point.
That's more than I
So
would think. That's
yeah,
a lot, actually, for a house.
maybe it was like the whole school. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. So don't call me on that.
So don't listen to anything you hear in this podcast because it's
none of this is real.
probably inaccurate.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like most of our shit.
Yeah. The expediter was considered a strength.
Makes sense.
And then from this point on, I'm pretty sure every like level is considered a strength, except for no, I'm pretty sure all of them are strengths. I couldn't really find any information on their status, but they're all above everybody else, so I'm assuming
I would
strengths.
I would say that's safe to assume.
So we have the department head, basically a manager of a certain crew. So like the kitchen or the yard worker cleaning, like these are your people you have to keep track of. We have a shingle, which was in charge of all the expediters, and they were told, basically told them what to do and where to go. Basically a manager of the expediters. But what's up?
I was just gonna make a really shitty joke and say shingles just keep the rain out of the house, but
that's so good.
Yeah, it was not worth interrupting you. My bad. Continue.
And they were held accountable for all the actions and mistakes of the expediters. So if the expediter did something wrong, not only would the expediter get abused, the shingle would also be abused. Then we have the chief expediter in charge of all the expediters and the shingles, and also it was considered to be very lonely because you didn't have any friends because you were considered the Nazi of the house.
You were literally the worst person there besides Joe.
Besides Joe and our heroin addict Boyo. And they were responsible for everybody's actions. So if somebody fucked up along the line, they would also get, attacked for that. Then you have the junior/senior guru, which is kind of just like a middleman between all the different department heads and like coordinators and shit, like nothing special really. And then we have the coordinators, which were basically the head of the house, and a new one was chosen every day, and they were pretty much accountable for everything going on in that selected house.
So they were
during whatever day they were in charge.
So they were kind of the GM of the building.
Yeah, pretty much. And a new one was chosen every day, so who's to know what could happen. And then you have a senior coordinator, which basically think like the vice principal of a high school. Like the principal's the one that's in charge of everybody, but then like the senior coordinator is the one that's like just below like the actual staff members. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that.
And then you have a re-entry, which are any student that finished the program and then came back to work. Came back to take their anger out on abusing people.
Their anger from being taught there to dish it out.
Yeah, it's like this school creates abusive people, and then it gives them a campus to practice that abuse on.
It sucks because those kind of things, like even with like old school like military stuff, like the Nazis and all that, it basically they just like these people in this school get treated a certain way, and then they're like, okay, well I'm gonna work here and then treat other people a certain way, and then it just continues and continues and continues, and it just creates
it's like a weird pyramid scheme, but for abuse.
Yeah, you have to like sell yourself well enough to be rehired, and then you can start abusing people.
Exactly.
And then as like I'm abusing you at like I'm a reentry and you're just starting out. Yeah, you're just getting there. I'm abusing you, but I'm also holding you close and saying, "This will be you. It's gonna be okay." You can take my
You,
position.
when I move up in the ranks and abuse the person that's currently abusing me. So basically, you're gonna abuse me through my entire journey into this program.
So today I fired my own boss.
It's
It's like those really
I
shitty like
fired my
finance
own
videos.
boss,
How to fire your own
and
boss.
yeah, exactly. I abused him harder than he can abuse me. So let's talk about the rules. This is my favorite slide.
Ah, yep.
Yeah,
I like
nice
the
little smiley
face. I
face.
like I like the
Yeah,
face you got there.
yeah. So the rules were designed to be impossible to follow. Like you were supposed to fail. Was the
Right.
point of all the rules.
They want to beat the shit out of
And
you.
yeah, that's like the point. Guilt was the term used when a student violated any rule whatsoever at Élan. And the rules are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then extreme punishments were used for breaking any rule. And the rules, as we see, here's a list. We'll put these up on screen for YouTube. They're fucking nuts. I'm going to read every single one of these, okay?
Okay. Okay. Cool. Let's do it.
There's a lot, and which are the rules are the following: talking too quietly, talking too loudly, talking to someone without authorization, talking to non-strength while being a non-strength, talking too much, not talking enough, sex, looking at or talking to anyone of the opposite sex, avoiding looking at someone of the opposite sex, being attracted to somebody, looking outside, looking at the floor, having negative body language, reacting to insults, slouching or yawning, reading or writing, drawing, not falling asleep, sleeping for too long, laughing at a joke made by someone of a higher rank, doing poorly in academics, feeling tired, speaking without permission, eating after designated meal times, not eating at all, going outside without permission, rolling your eyes, attempting to run away, swearing without permission, smiling without permission, not smiling enough, making any sort of physical contact, even shaking hands was forbidden, wearing
What?
clothes with an image, yeah, having bad thoughts or showing or voicing any dissent
Okay. So you can't look or even
at the
talk
floor.
to somebody of the opposite sex. But if you
Yeah,
avoid looking at them,
you're
you're
breaking the rules.
fucked. Is this is I mean like you said, they're literally made they're
Yeah, I
made to
mean,
be failed. I mean, you can't beat this system.
no, because it's like not talking enough. It's like, hey, dude, you were quiet for 2 minutes. We're gonna beat you now. You know what I mean?
We're gonna we're gonna call general meeting right now because you're
Right
being
now.
weird and quiet.
And like looking at the floor, dude, like,
I look at the
or like
floor all the
looking
time
outside,
because I'm
like,
socially awkward.
yeah. See, but if you were socially awkward here, you would be beaten to death.
I think honestly that would help me.
Being beaten to death.
Yes.
We can
It'd
arrange
make me
that.
certainly less awkward if I was dead.
What?
Hmm?
If I was 6 feet under, all my problems would be fine.
Exactly.
This. I feel like this school is like one firing squad away from like some weird prison camp.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If they had a firing squad, it would be a prison camp.
Yeah,
I mean, it is
like
a prison camp. They
it
can't
is.
run because they'll beat the hell out of you if you run or kill you.
Yeah, pretty much. So, what are the punishments, you may ask? Got some nice photos of what
What are
that
the
may be.
punishments, Esdin?
Oh, well, I'm glad that you asked. Let me just bring up my list here. So, punishments were kind of also made up on the spot sometimes. Like, some dudes I saw in some of the footage that it might come up when we watch that were forced to live in a trash can
Yeah,
for
I
weeks.
heard of that one. Yeah, it's like literally
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 weeks. They had to bum it in a trash can.
Yeah. So, sometimes it was made up on the spot, but these are like kind of like the staples. We have general meetings, as you mentioned, and they happen pretty much any time during the day, all the time. And basically, if you broke any minor rule, you would have to stand there, and everyone else, up to 150 people, would scream at you and verbally abuse you.
They would literally like circle you and just
Yeah,
start screaming slurs. profanities, anything that
Making
like
poking
you're
fun,
sensitive
just
to.
anything. They kind of titled like that act of like if you're not the person being abused, like you're the person yelling, as they kind of coined that as getting your feelings off because they understood that everyone's going to have pent up emotion, so they wanted everyone to release that pent up emotion onto that one person. And I
And
would
then they
honestly
get to deal
argue
with everyone else's emotions.
exactly, and I feel like having up 150 people scream slurs and profanities at you for several hours really good for the psyche, I think.
I honestly, I feel like even if I was like in the crowd yelling, like, isn't it just like at some point you're like, isn't it like it's lunchtime, bro? Can we
Yeah,
just
it's
like
like,
take a
dude,
break from this? Like, I actually like this guy, but I'm just like forced to do this.
yeah, it's like, hey man, you like lean over like mid general meeting, like, hey, I don't actually mean this, by the way. I think you're a really cool dude. I think this place is total bullshit. Like, just don't. I'm gonna sit in the back and just kind of like, you
I
know,
didn't mean to point out your biggest insecurity, but I did.
kind of. I kind of had to.
It
It's
was the
like, hey
heat of
man,
the moment.
I know last night you were telling me like about like your deepest fears and insecurities and stuff, and like really confided in me as a friend. And I know I just called that out in front of the entire school, but like that's because I had to. Okay, are we still cool though? We still cool?
We're still cool though.
Like I'm.
He's like, yeah, we're still cool. We're still cool.
Yeah,
And then he
I get
good
it. I get it.
punches him in the face.
Just socks him in the face as hard as he can.
He looks back up at him like missing teeth, does a thumbs up.
Yay. What I think is crazy is like this photo here of these kids boxing. It's like
Hmm.
some dude was in there, like press, just like snapping pics, and they were
Yeah,
just doing this.
they
Like nobody
literally
was like let's stop abusing these kids in front of the press. They're like, no, we're gonna make these kids beat the fuck out of each other
no,
in
dude.
front of these people.
Like Joe was on interviews with the news, and
Yeah.
he had everybody under this like spell somehow that this school was legit and good for the kids. Like he had everybody fooled for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
insane.
Crazy. Another punishment was haircuts. If you broke any rules and didn't relate your feelings enough, you would get your head shaved, and then in an orderly fashion, the others would verbally abuse you. So kind of like one after another. Just like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. Next dude, yeah, fuck you, dude. Next dude, you're like, hey, you're fat for however long.
Hey, now you're bald.
Now you look like you have a terminal illness, fucking
Yeah, you
loser.
look sick.
That's so fucked up.
That is pretty funny.
This next one is crazy to me.
I love
Not
this.
the costumes. They made people wear costumes. You were forced to wear costumes that was related to how you're acting. So if you're acting like a baby, you would have to wear a diaper over your clothes and carry around a baby rattle and wear a baby bonnet. But an extreme case of this I found was crazy. This is a quote from a Reddit post from a survivor. An example of this is one resident who asked if their house could get a dog. He was not only forced to wear a dog costume for many months, but he was also forced to act like a dog as well. He was not allowed to talk. He could only bark. He also had to perform tricks and walk around on all fours for months,
So
dude.
the first furry.
Arguably, this is where furry was invented here.
Furries are
I like that.
very Elanian of you. That's so Elanian of you.
That's very Alanian of you. Dude, furries, dude. You like furries? We don't have to put this in the video if you don't want, so we can blip this out.
Let's just not talk about it. Not the time or
Hell yeah.
place, Esdin.
What? It was a school of abusiveness doesn't garner.
You don't want to
some
bully
furry
people
talk?
with me right now?
Right here on the podcast and post it on the internet. So next we have the encounter groups. We're basically the same thing as a general meeting, but instead it was one person instead of a group. So you just sit there in a room with this one person. They would just berate you,
Just get roasted.
which is, yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Not gonna lie. Like if it was you and your boys like just shitting on each other the whole time, that'd be kind of funny.
I'd be down. Let's roast each other.
All right, you're fat.
What? Now, I took that a little too personally, and I don't feel good about it.
That sucks for you, dude.
Yeah.
You literally asked for it.
You literally begged me.
See, this is the practice at Élan. I would say something mean, then gaslight you into thinking that you wanted it.
I'm already brainwashed.
Da-na-na. Then you have ditches. You would be forced to dig a ditch and then fill it back in, and then dig it up and fill it back in all day long.
That's a good workout. And I mean
That would be
that.
pretty solid.
Like
Yeah.
you'd probably get ripped as hell if you did that for like a full year. Like if you
Hmm.
dug a full ditch and then reburied it every single day for a year, I bet you'd be ripped.
I bet you would be pretty. Your upper body strength would be fucking
It'd be
crazy.
stupid.
Signs. You had to wear humiliating signs with your problems on it, and then you'd have to read it aloud every time they entered a new room. So every time you change location, you have to read out the sign that just listed all of your problems.
Dude,
Hmm.
okay. So where Ken went to school,
Oh my god.
they had like a photo project or whatever,
Uh,
and they posted it all on social media. Each kid is holding a whiteboard sign of the worst name they were called. And they would write it and then hold it and get their picture taken with it. Is that not the same kind of thing?
that's kind of the same
It's the
concept,
same
a
fucking
little bit.
thing.
Yo, that is. I don't think that should be on. Dude, that's
Isn't
crazy.
it? I think that's weird
I
too.
I would, dude.
Like some of
I've
them
been
were like
called some
saying like
crazy shit,
slut and shit, like bad stuff. And the
dude.
school was like, oh, smile.
Yeah, it was put this on the school website. Look at all
So
these slurs.
crazy.
That's nuts. You had shot downs. So this was kind of like a position in the hierarchy, and it was like anyone could become a shot down or get shut down. They were deemed to get food last, so they had like an order in which people could eat. And they basically had to do all the shit nobody wanted to do. They had to clean all the floors, all the trash cans, scrub between the tiles, kind of thing. And this could last for months.
So
Very humiliating.
are they like the
Bottom tier,
bottom? Yeah.
below everybody, even the new people. And handcuffs, straitjackets. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, in there. Okay, this one was fucking crazy to me. They would put people in a corner, like a timeout. You had to sit in a corner and couldn't talk to anyone except what they called a support person. And some accounts say that it could last over 4 months. So you could do nothing but for 4 months every day, just sit in a corner and do
What?
nothing.
Do you
Yeah,
have to sleep there? Or do you like at the end of the school day, do you at least get to like go back?
I would assume that you could go sleep because one of the rules is that you have to sleep.
Because
You know,
honestly, if I showed up to school every day and they're like, all right, go sit in the corner while everyone else learns, I'd be like, okay, cool.
I that's fine. Let me just stare at this blank wall for 4 months every day.
Instead of learn calculus. Bummer. Just kidding.
Damn,
I'm sure
what a
it was a lot
shame.
worse than that.
Then they had electric sauce, which was in a mixture of garbage, waste, cigarette butts, and food scraps. And some rumors say that there was even piss, shit, and other fluids blended and then poured over the student's head, usually during a general meeting, to remind the
Ah,
students of what their life would be like and what they'd have to eat if they didn't get their life together.
and they called that electric sauce.
Electric
I'm
sauce.
adding that to my vocabulary.
Like, yeah, dude, go eat some like electric sauce. Some people say that they also had to like sit in it or get into like bathtubs full of it,
Oh,
like kiddie pools or
gross.
whatever.
That's
Yeah,
disgusting.
nummy. And then there was this thing called the ring, which is basically if you were violent in any way, you were forced to box other students until you were unconscious or couldn't fight. And this leads great into the next slide, about the deaths involved.
Yep.
So there were this is basically all the deaths and lawsuits and stuff. There was a 14-year-old named Philip Williams Jr. who died of a brain aneurysm during the ring. Really cool, awesome.
So fucked up,
And
honestly. He literally got beat so hard that his brain
yeah,
exploded.
pretty much. Which I thought was a really, probably just like slept a little, got upset. On July 4th of July, 1990, a 15-year-old named Brad Glickman was killed after escaping Élan. The stories on how he died kind of differ. Some people say he was shot. Some people say he was just like stabbed. Some people say that they brought him back and then he died from like other things.
I subscribe to he was shot. That's the one I
Yeah,
feel like I hear the
yeah,
most, that he was
me
literally like
too.
hunted and shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would send like parties of people to like kidnap people who would try to escape
Well, you know how like they got to the school, right?
by like a
Like,
van or whatever, right? They
yeah,
like yeah
but
they
do you
would
know how
like
they got them in the van?
yeah they would kidnap them.
They would
Yeah.
literally meet with the parents of the student, set up a time and a date that they would show up in the
Mhm.
middle of the night and literally kidnap their kid with the parents' consent and take them to
Yeah.
school. Like
Isn't that
middle of the
awesome?
night, dead asleep, you just get kidnapped and brought to this hellhole. And your parents are like, have fun. And they were like, cool with
It's
it.
like
So the
summer
police were never
camp.
contacted or anything. Like
Nothing.
completely legal kidnapping.
That's such a
Insane.
crazy concept to
It
me.
is. I'd be pissed if could you imagine the disdain that you would have for your parents if you survived the school and like became an alumni? Like once you got
Oh,
out of this, oh my God.
I would never talk to my parents ever again, dude.
No, that's it. It's insane.
So this next death isn't technically the school's fault, but it is related because this lady was trying to escape, and then she died in the process of escaping.
This one's rough.
Um, March 22nd, 1993, 17-year-old Dawn Marie Birnbaum died trying to escape. She was raped and murdered while trying to hitchhike away from the school, which is so sad that like your life probably sucked hella ass, and then you went to this school, and then you get raped and murdered. Like that's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, and she probably thought that she was about to be free.
Yeah, she
Some
thought she was gonna
dude
make
pulls
it.
up in his big truck and he's like, "I'll take you where you got to go." A couple hours into the ride,
Not, yeah.
she got raped and killed and left on the street with
Such
semi tire tracks on her body.
on her body,
And they
just
found the guy,
yeah,
thankfully, but still
still
fucked up.
sad.
Yeah.
In 1975, the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services and its director, Mary Lee Leahy, charged Élan 1, so like the main building, Élan 1 officials with mentally and physically abusing Illinois children. Definitely could see that happening. Duh.
Fair, fair.
The department filed a suit in the U.S. District Court against Élan for $750,000 in damages, but the school obviously denied this and then tried to sue Mary and the Department of Children and Family Services for $10 million. I don't think this lawsuit ever, like, they never went anywhere because, like, they were obviously abusing the kids, but it didn't, like, shut it down or nothing. Nobody got any money out of it.
And that's
Didn't
just
really
like a
help it.
stupid amount of money compared to
Yeah.
750K at first.
Especially in 1975, dude, $10 million would be fucking crazy.
Yeah. Even nowadays with 10 mil,
That's still a lot.
if you do it right, you're set for life. I mean, like if me and you had $10
Yeah,
million right now, we'd be fine.
we'd be chilling. And then I have some footage that I would like to watch. You want to go to that first link
Yes.
and go to just watch the first few minutes, I guess.
And for the listeners, I'll probably just completely cut this part out because you won't be able to see anything. But if you want to hop over onto YouTube, you'll be able to see what we're watching, and it will be kind of fun.
Yes. But yeah, dude, rough.
It's a hard watch. It's really fucked up to see these kids getting screamed at and like bawling their eyes out, but also like being filmed. Because
Yeah,
like
like
whoever's
without like
filming is like,
intervention.
look
Let me get
like
this
trying to
shot.
get, yeah, they're like, move your hand, I can't see your tears.
I can't see how abusive this is. Like, it's just sad and fucked up.
It is. It's this place. I mean, I watched videos of people exploring this like building, like this area, And they said like as
Mhm.
soon as you walk in, you can just feel the heaviness
Oh, I
and
bet,
just
dude. The
sadness.
energy. But the energy's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then just some closing stuff here with this nice little face. This is my
Dude,
this
after
is my
watching that video, now
attitude.
it's just like, man.
And it's like,
Now I'm
damn.
just bummed out, and you're like, and then I just see this fucking sunglass smiley face with a thumbs up.
I'm putting it in the video. Like that's the first
Yes.
thing they're gonna see afterward. So there was like kind of like a little survey thing that was done that out of 117 former students from the Rhode Island campus, 70 have been arrested and one is serving a life sentence, which kind of goes to show that this was not really a very
Whoa.
lucrative a way to
70
approach.
have been. Holy shit, that's like a majority of those kids.
Yeah, it just kind of goes to show that this really wasn't like a reformative situation for pretty much most people would have not gotten better from this.
They left worse than they started.
Yeah. It closed in the U.S. in 2011, and due to like financial strains, and the internet got a hold of like the information, like specifically Reddit, and just started dogging on it really
Which
hard.
is so sick that Reddit
Yeah.
single-handedly shut this place down.
And now there's a bunch of movies and articles about it. Like The Last Stop, I think, is like a what are they called when they like? They're like I think it's a documentary or some kind of like nonfiction film about it. So check that out if you want. And that kind of closes our statement on our presentation here. And here are my sauces.
Here's the sauces. So
Yeah,
don't
dude. So
copyright us.
yeah,
Well, damn,
isn't that
Esdin.
nuts, dude?
That's yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
that's so depressing to me.
It is.
And
I
because
mean,
I experienced it, everyone else had to experience it.
and I mean, we try to make light of it, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just us making light of it and having try to have fun with hard topics for you guys, but
Mm-hmm.
the mood is definitely killed now.
Yeah, like it. Watch. I think it was watching that uh those videos
Like the
of those
real life
kids.
footage of the kids back
Yeah.
then. Yeah, that's
I was originally gonna have that in the beginning, and then I kind of was like, maybe I shouldn't because this is definitely gonna kill the vibe. And kind of yeah,
yeah. Well, shit, bud.
yeah. That's
Nice. Thank you for this.
yeah. You guys are so welcome for this extremely depressing episode. I hope that you enjoyed it.
If
Uh,
somehow if somehow any survivors or alumni from the school see this and you feel
yeah,
up to talk to us, that'd be really
reach
cool.
out.
Reach out.
Yeah,
Thoughtvoidpodcast at
email us.
gmail.com.
That'd be interesting to
That'd be
see.
really cool. We would appreciate your time. But
But that's all we got.
I'm done.
what are your yeah, that shit's crazy. It's too much.
It's a
Like
lot. It's
get
really
your kids help.
bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think. If your kids are going through anything, like most of these kids didn't do anything crazy out of pocket to wind up here. They're like, oh, I found my son smoking weed with his friends. Let's send him to a military
Whoa.
school times 10.
Yeah, like at least like a military school. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be in a military school, but at least there's like kind of like a purpose behind it. Like,
Yeah, there is. I had a friend that taught at one, and he
yeah,
basically just
see,
helped like young kids not fuck up their life before they got to high school, you know?
exactly. Whereas like this, I feel like it's just like I it almost feels like it was just like a sick way for some people to get their rocks off by abusing a bunch of people. Like I get that back in the day that like the tough love thing like was like the go-to approach, but like this is like some extreme cases of that, you know. It's one thing to tell someone like get over your emotions and then, you know, or have them beat the fuck out of somebody. You know what I mean?
And then scream at them for 72 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's too much.
All of this is just exhausting and it breaks down your person. And then you are starting to not even be able to like function properly. And then you get punished for it, even though you're in that
Exactly.
place because of them. You're set up for
100%.
failure. That's all it is. But shit, I I have
That's
nothing
all we
else to
got, dude.
say. Yeah.
I can't
I
say anything else on this.
yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and that it was depressing, but I hope you found it interesting nonetheless. And feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us and listen on all the audio platforms. Share all this with anybody if you
and
want to make their
Instagram.
day a little sadder. Oh yes, and we have Instagram, so follow us on there. Look
Esdin's
out
doing good
for
over
some,
there.
yeah. Look out for the shorts from technically the first episode with video, but it'll be over there in short form. And we appreciate everybody sticking around.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Subscribe, comment, leave us ratings, all that good shit. Keep coming back. We got more stuff coming down the pipe. It's gonna be a good time.
Yes.
And now we're on video, so that's cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, bye.
That's it. Peace out.